This is not just an audiobook, it is a memory. The divine protocol unlocks the ancient teachings that guide the invisible laws of manifestation. The feeling you've always had that something deeper is calling you was never your imagination. It was the universe inviting you home. The Divine Protocol. Introduction. In your hands rests a collection of wisdom that has whispered through the corridors of time. These words have been guarded by sages, preserved in sacred texts, and passed down through countless generations, not as mere knowledge, but as living truth. The universe operates through an eternal dance of invisible forces, moving in perfect harmony with laws so fundamental they predate creation itself. These laws do not require your belief to function, just as gravity does not need your acknowledgement to hold you in its embrace. They simply are, and they have always been. You have felt these truths stirring within you. In moments of perfect silence, when the world grows still and your heart speaks clearly, you have sensed the presence of something vast and knowing. This presence is the great mind, the infinite intelligence that orchestrates every sunrise, guides every seed toward the light, and weaves the tapestry of existence itself. The divine protocol is not a new discovery, but an ancient remembering. It is the sacred science of reality creation that has been practiced by masters throughout the ages. Those who understood these principles moved through life differently. They created with quiet certainty, manifested with graceful ease, and transformed circumstances through invisible means. Within these chapters lies a map to powers that have always been yours. You will discover how to align with the hidden currents of creation, how to speak in the language of the universe, and how to access states of consciousness that bend reality to your intentions. This knowledge comes with sacred responsibility. As you turn these chapters, you step into an ancient lineage of those who have learned to work with the invisible forces that shape our world. The path before you is one of transformation, not just of circumstances, but of your very being. Let these words awaken what has always lived within you. The time has come to remember who you truly are. Part 1. The veil begins to lift, the call of the hidden flame. Chapter 1. The whisper before the word. In a small town where dust danced in sunbeams and time moved like molasses, Clara sat at her worn wooden table, needle threading through fabric with practiced precision. Her fingers knew their work well, but lately, something stirred beneath the familiar rhythm of her days. Between each stitch, in the spaces where silence gathered, she felt a presence, not a voice, but a knowing. As she worked in her modest shop, the usual sounds faded, the tick of the wall clock, the distant rumble of automobiles, the murmur of passing townspeople. In their place emerged a different kind of listening, as though her soul had grown ears of its own. This subtle awareness beckoned her toward mysteries that her needle could never pierce, truths that no thread could bind. The universe speaks first in whispers, calling you to awaken to the sacred conversation that has always been unfolding within. Like Clara, you may have noticed moments when the ordinary world grows transparent, revealing glimpses of something vast and knowing beneath its surface. This is not imagination. It is the first stirring of your soul's recognition of its own divine nature. In the sacred traditions of old, it was understood that before any great work could begin, one must first learn to hear the unspoken guidance of the great mind. This guidance does not arrive in words or visions, but in a profound stillness that precedes all forms. In a different corner of time, Eliot spent decades measuring the minutes of others' lives through the intricate mechanisms of watches. His workshop was filled with the precise tick-tock of countless timepieces until the day he noticed something in the spaces between the sounds. In the whisper-thin gaps between seconds, he discovered a different kind of time, one that moved according to the rhythm of the soul rather than the swing of a pendulum. Like the space between heartbeats, the divine frequency pulses within you now. It requires no special talent to hear it, only the willingness to become still enough to notice what has always been present. Your journey into the divine protocol begins with this simple yet sacred act of listening. Practice. As the sun rises or sets, find a quiet space where you will remain undisturbed. For 5 minutes, sit in complete stillness. Make no requests, ask no questions. Simply allow yourself to rest in the silence, attuning to the sacred presence that exists before thoughts arise. This is not meditation. It is communion with the eternal wisdom that flows through all things. Let your breath become soft and natural, neither forced nor controlling its rhythm. Feel how the space between each breath mirrors the sacred intervals that exist in all of creation. As your awareness deepens, you may notice a subtle vibration, an ancient pulse that has always been there, waiting to be discovered. This simple practice, performed daily, will gradually attune your being to the divine protocol that orchestrates the symphony of existence. Chapter 2. The Invisible Engine of Creation. In a sunlit studio at the edge of town, Martha stood before her canvas, brushes trembling in her paint-stained hands. For years she had pushed and struggled, forcing her art into the world through sheer will, yet each piece felt hollow, lacking the spark of life she desperately sought to capture. Her galleries remained empty, her works unsold, her spirit diminishing with each failed attempt. Until one morning when something shifted. Instead of rushing to her easel, she sat in silence, allowing her mind to settle like still water. In this quiet space, images began to flow, not from her striving, but from somewhere deeper. When she finally lifted her brush, it moved with an authority that came not from her, but through her. The universe operates through you, not by you. Your visible world materializes not from your actions, but from your state of being. Just as a garden grows from unseen roots beneath the soil, your reality springs forth from the hidden realm of consciousness. Every masterpiece, every achievement, every manifestation begins as a seed in the fertile soil of your inner world. Think of your mind as a sacred vessel. What you pour into it, your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, creates the template from which your outer life is cast. The universe does not respond to what you do, but to who you are being. This is why those who push hardest often remain stuck, while those who align with their desires find them unfolding naturally. In a cluttered workshop across town, Henry hunched over his latest invention, frustration etched deep in his features. For decades he had assembled gadgets and machines, each one failing despite his technical precision. One evening, exhausted from another dead end, he fell into a peaceful slumber. In his dreams he saw his creation not as a problem to solve, but as a living reality, complete and perfect. Upon waking, he approached his work with reverence rather than desperation. Within weeks, the mechanism that had eluded him for years suddenly revealed itself, as though it had been waiting for him to see it through different eyes. Your imagination is not a fantasy. It is the universal intelligence speaking to you in the language of possibility. When you enter that sacred space where your desire already exists, you align with the creative force that shapes worlds. This is not wishful thinking, but the highest form of spiritual science. Practice. Find a quiet moment at the same time each day, creating a sacred ritual that aligns you with universal intelligence. Allow your body and mind to settle into deep peace, releasing all tension and resistance until you feel yourself merging with the infinite. From this state of alignment, see and feel your desire as already manifest, knowing it exists now in the realm of pure potential. Experience it with all your senses. See its vivid details, feel its texture and weight, hear the sounds that accompany it, breathe in its essence. Make this vision so real that your entire being accepts it as truth. Hold this vision as sacred, share it with no one, for it is a holy communion between you and the divine. Let it mature in the silence of your own heart, protected from the doubts and limitations of the outer world, until it ripens into physical form. Chapter 3. The Law of Mirrors. In a small classroom after hours, Agnes stared at the empty desks before her, each one a reminder of another day's disappointments. Her shoulders slumped under the weight of unpaid bills, strained relationships, and dreams that seemed forever out of reach. "Why does everything always go wrong?" she whispered to the silence. What Agnes did not yet understand, what you may not yet see, is that life responds not to your words or actions, but to your deepest beliefs. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, creates through an immutable law. Your outer world must match your inner convictions. When you believe in lack, lack appears. When you expect disappointment, disappointment arrives. This is not punishment, it is power. Every circumstance you face serves as a mirror, reflecting back the thoughts and beliefs you hold most firmly. Your bank account mirrors your beliefs about abundance. Your relationships mirror your self-worth. Your health mirrors your inner harmony. Nothing in your life is random. Everything is a response. Walter lived alone in a cottage on the outskirts of town, his heart hardened by years of perceived betrayals. He avoided people, convinced they would only hurt him again. Yet in his solitude, a truth began to dawn. Those who had wronged him had merely acted out the pain he carried within. His father's criticism reflected his own self-judgment. His friend's abandonment echoed his fear of unworthiness. One morning, Walter began a new practice. Instead of cursing those who triggered his pain, he blessed them. With each blessing, a weight was lifted. He realized these people were not his enemies. They were his teachers, showing him where healing was needed. You need not wage war with your reflection. When you see lack, bless it. Then examine what beliefs within you it mirrors. When relationships struggle, thank them for showing you where love is needed within. The mirror cannot change until you do. Each evening, as the sun sets and the day's events settle in your mind, sit quietly with this truth. What you see around you is not happening to you. It is happening from you. Take one situation that brought discord and ask yourself, what within me does this reflect? Then, with gentle awareness, offer that part of yourself the love it has been seeking through external circumstances. In this sacred act of self-reflection, you begin to change the mirror itself. For in these moments of quiet contemplation, you access the deeper chambers of your being, where transformation truly begins. Notice how your breath naturally slows, how your thoughts become like gentle ripples on a still pond. This is where wisdom speaks most clearly. Consider that each challenge that arose today, each person who frustrated you, each obstacle that emerged, came forth as a teacher, revealing precisely what within you calls for healing. When you resist these reflections, they persist. When you embrace them with understanding, they dissolve into the light of your expanded awareness. Chapter 4: The Secret Chamber Within. In the fading light of an autumn evening, Lillian walked past the weathered stone chapel on Cedar Hill. For weeks, she had felt its silent call, like a forgotten melody stirring in her heart. Though its wooden doors had long been closed to worshippers, something beckoned her forward. Inside, dust motes danced in shafts of amber light. The air held a stillness that seemed alive, not the emptiness of abandonment, but the rich silence of presence. As Lillian sank onto a worn wooden pew, the weight of hospital rounds and endless responsibilities melted away. In this sacred quiet, she heard what her soul had long whispered. The power she sought had always dwelled within. The universe speaks not through thunder but through silence. Within you lies a sanctuary more sacred than any temple built by human hands. It is here, in this inner chapel, that the real work of transformation unfolds. When you step away from the world's clamor and enter this hallowed space, you access the very source of creation. This inner sanctuary is not a place of asking, but of knowing. It is where your spirit communes with the infinite intelligence that orchestrates galaxies. In this sacred chamber, manifestation requires no effort, only alignment. Your power does not come from doing, but from being. Samuel knew only grief after his beloved wife's passing. He filled his days with noise, radio programs, social calls, endless activities. Yet peace eluded him until one morning, sitting in his garden, he finally allowed himself to be still. In that moment of surrender, he discovered what all great mystics have known: that joy is not found in the outer world, but wells up from within when we dare to be quiet. The truth Samuel discovered is yours to claim. Every miracle begins in silence. The universe's greatest gifts await you not in striving, but in stillness. When you enter your inner sanctuary, you align with the same power that turns seeds into forests and stars into galaxies. Your practice calls you to create a sacred space within your home, a corner, a chair, an altar, where you can retreat for 5 minutes of silent communion each day. This is not meditation as you know it, but a gentle return to your soul's natural state. Here in the quiet, you will discover that what you seek has been within you all along. Let this sanctuary become your bridge between worlds, a sacred threshold where the mundane transforms into the divine. Adorn it with objects that speak to your spirit, perhaps a crystal, a cherished photograph, or simply a candle whose flame dances with ancient wisdom. As you sit in this consecrated space day after day, you will find the boundary between inner and outer reality softening, revealing the infinite potential that has always resided in your heart. Chapter 5: What You Do in Secret. In a small town where gossip flowed like water, Dorothy's family had become a cautionary tale. Her daughter hadn't spoken to her son in years, and her husband's bitterness had carved deep lines around his mouth. Yet Dorothy discovered a truth that would transform everything, not through confrontation, but through sacred silence. You see, the universe operates through invisible threads. Each morning, before dawn touched the horizon, Dorothy would sit in her garden, eyes closed, heart open. There, in that private sanctuary, she would hold each family member in the light of pure love. No words were exchanged, no advice given, no attempts to control their choices. Instead, she blessed them in secret, seeing them whole, healed, and radiant with joy. This practice aligns with an ancient truth. What you do in the unseen realms carries more power than any visible action. Your private thoughts, feelings, and rituals are the true architects of reality. When you bless in secret, you tap into the universe's hidden currents of transformation. Consider George, the merchant whose rival had spread rumors that nearly destroyed his business. Rather than seeking revenge or public vindication, George retreated to his study each evening. There, in the soft lamplight, he would picture his enemy surrounded by light, blessed with prosperity and peace. He never spoke of these private sessions to anyone. Months passed and something shifted. His rival's heart softened unexpectedly. One morning, the man walked into George's shop, eyes downcast, offering both apology and partnership. The reconciliation seemed miraculous to observers, but George understood the real work had happened in silence. You hold this same power. Every private blessing you offer, every secret moment of alignment with love, ripples through the fabric of reality. The universe responds not to your public declarations, but to your hidden harmonies. Practice. In solitude, find a quiet moment each day, away from the world's ceaseless motion and noise. Bring to mind those who have hurt you or whom you struggle to forgive, whether friend or foe, family or stranger. Hold them gently in the light of pure love, blessing them with all that you would wish for yourself: peace, prosperity, joy, and enlightenment. Keep this practice entirely private, understanding that its power lies in its secrecy. Like a seed that must germinate in darkness before it can reach toward the sun, your silent blessings gain strength through their hidden nature. This sacred ritual, performed in the depths of your heart, carries more transformative power than 1,000 public declarations. In these moments of solitary communion with the divine, you access the deepest chambers of universal wisdom, where true transformation begins. The ancient mystics knew well that the most profound changes occur in stillness, away from the world's prying eyes. Your quiet devotion becomes a sacred vessel through which infinite love flows, touching all it encounters with gentle yet unmistakable power. Chapter 6. The Language of the Universe. In a dimly lit concert hall, Florence sat before a grand piano, her fingers hovering above the keys. For months, she had struggled to recapture the magic that once flowed through her music. Every technique she'd studied, every practice routine she'd followed, all felt hollow. You too may recognize this moment when logic fails to bridge the gap between you and your desires. The universe speaks not in words, but in frequencies, in the silent language of feeling and vibration. This truth has echoed through the ages. It is not your words that create, but the energy they carry. As Florence closed her eyes that evening, she stopped trying to play the right notes. Instead, she allowed herself to become the music. Her body swayed with an inner melody, her heart opened to a rhythm beyond thought. In that moment of surrender, something extraordinary happened. The music that poured forth touched souls in ways her technical perfection never had. The universe responds not to what you say, but to what you emanate. When you shift from speaking to embodying, from asking to becoming, the very fabric of reality begins to reshape itself around you. This is the forgotten language, the dialogue of energy that needs no words. Harold, a merchant who had spent years reciting prosperity affirmations, discovered this truth in an unexpected way. One morning, exhausted from endless positive declarations, he simply sat in silence and allowed himself to feel what abundance would be like in his body. He imagined the ease in his shoulders, the quiet confidence in his chest, the peaceful knowing in his heart. He stopped asking for prosperity and started radiating it. Within weeks, opportunities began flowing toward him, not because he had found the right words, but because he had found the right frequency. The universe had always been responding, not to his verbal requests, but to his energetic signature. Your power lies not in perfect phrases, but in pure resonance. When you align your inner state with your desire, you speak in the universe's native tongue. This is not manifestation through force, but through frequency. Practice. Each day, choose one desire, and instead of speaking about it, sit quietly and feel it in your body. Let the sensation of its fulfillment flow through you until you vibrate at its frequency. This is the true language of creation, feeling the wish fulfilled in your cells, your breath, your being. Allow yourself to become a living embodiment of this desire, as though it has already manifested in its perfect form. Notice how your shoulders relax, how your heart opens, how your entire being shifts into alignment with this new reality. In these moments of pure resonance, you transcend the need for words and enter the sacred space where transformation begins. The universe responds not to what you say, but to who you become in the silence of your deepest knowing. Chapter 7. The Alchemy of Belief. In a small apartment above a bustling market, Eleanor counted her meager savings each night, wondering how she would make it through another month. Yet in this moment of scarcity, she discovered an ancient truth that would transform her existence. You stand now where Eleanor once stood, at the threshold between accepting what is and commanding what could be. The power that reshaped her life dwells equally within you, the power of unshakable belief. Each morning, before the world stirred, Eleanor sat in silence and felt the weight of abundance in her bones. She did not pray for prosperity. She embodied it. She did not hope for change. She became it. Though her circumstances had not yet shifted, she carried herself with the quiet dignity of one who knew her worth beyond all doubt. Within months, opportunities began appearing, not by chance but by law. The universe had no choice but to mirror her inner certainty. This is the sacred principle that has guided masters through the ages. Belief is not a response to reality. It is reality's blueprint. Clark, a man who once dismissed such teachings as fantasy, found himself at a crossroads. His logical mind had built walls around his potential, until one day he dared to believe despite all evidence to the contrary. He chose to trust not what his eyes showed him, but what his spirit knew was possible. His transformation began the moment he stopped waiting for proof and became living proof instead. You hold this same power. Your beliefs are not passive thoughts. They are active forces that shape the very substance of your world. What you accept as true in the depths of your being must manifest in form. This is not wishful thinking. It is universal law. Practice. Write a letter from your future self who already has everything you desire, then read it daily in secret. Let each word flow from the deepest chambers of your heart, describing in vivid detail the life you have manifested. Seal this sacred message with unwavering faith, knowing that time is but an illusion, and your future self already exists in the eternal now. Each morning, find a quiet moment to commune with this version of you, allowing their certainty and joy to fill your being. As you read their words, feel the truth of their reality merging with your present experience. Let their voice resonate through every fiber of your consciousness, for they are not separate from you. They are the divine reflection of your highest potential made manifest. In those sacred moments of connection, allow yourself to fully embody their energy, their confidence, and their unwavering knowledge that all they desire has already come to pass. This daily ritual of communion serves as a bridge between what appears to be and what truly is in the eternal now. Chapter 8. Time is the illusion. Now is the portal. In a sunlit garden, Margaret tended her roses each morning, always thinking of the life she would lead someday. Her dreams felt like distant stars, beautiful but unreachable until the perfect alignment of circumstances arrived. You, like Margaret, may be caught in time's illusion. The mind whispers of a future moment when all will align, when you will finally be ready, when conditions will be perfect. Yet this waiting is the very veil that conceals your power. The universe knows no tomorrow. It responds only to the eternal now, this sacred instant where all possibility lives. When Margaret finally understood this truth, she stopped postponing her joy. She ceased waiting for permission from time. In that moment of surrender to the present, her entire world transformed. This is the hidden wisdom that sages have guarded. There is no path to power. Power lives only in this moment. Your ability to manifest lies not in some distant future, but in your willingness to fully inhabit the now. Frank carried the weight of past regrets like stones in his pockets. For years, he believed healing would come through understanding what went wrong, through analyzing his mistakes until they made sense. But peace eluded him until the day he stopped reaching backward through time. In one ordinary moment, while watching leaves dance in the wind, Frank let go. He allowed himself to simply be present, to feel the air on his skin, to exist without the burden of yesterday or tomorrow. In that instant of pure presence, decades of regret dissolved. He discovered that the present moment was not just a healing space. It was the only space where life truly existed. The past is memory, the future is imagination. Only now holds the power to transform your reality. When you fully enter this moment, you step into the same timeless space where all creation occurs. Here, in the eternal present, miracles are not waiting to happen. They are happening. Practice. Embrace one ordinary activity today, washing dishes, walking, breathing, with complete presence. Let your senses fully awaken to each detail. Feel the temperature, notice the textures, observe the sounds. This simple moment contains the entirety of existence. It is your gateway to power. Choose an action you normally rush through mindlessly. As you engage with it, allow your awareness to expand like ripples on still water. Feel the temperature against your skin. Is it warm or cool? Notice how different textures interact with your touch. Listen deeply to the symphony of sounds that usually pass unheard. In this focused attention, you will discover that what seems mundane holds profound sacred energy. This single moment of pure presence contains the seeds of all transformation. It is your gateway to power, your bridge to the infinite, and your key to unlocking the treasures that have always existed within your daily life. Chapter 9. The Hidden Contract. In a sunlit attic, Edith discovered a dust-covered journal from her childhood. As she opened its weathered chapters, her fingers traced the dreams she had once penned with such certainty, dreams that now stirred something ancient within her soul. You carry within you a sacred agreement made before time began. In the realm beyond form, your soul chose a specific purpose, a unique contribution to the great tapestry of existence. This choice was not made lightly. It emerged from the deepest wisdom of your eternal self. When you feel lost or uncertain, know that you are not seeking something new. You are remembering something timeless. The restlessness you experience, the unnamed yearning that keeps you awake at night, these are echoes of your soul's original commitment. The universe has placed breadcrumbs along your path, synchronicities, recurring symbols, persistent dreams that refuse to fade. These are not coincidences, but cosmic reminders of your chosen purpose. Lewis, who had seen the harsh realities of war, found himself drawn to a small garden where butterflies danced. At first he dismissed these moments of peace as mere distraction. Yet as he learned to trust his intuition, these simple encounters revealed themselves as sacred signposts, guiding him back to his soul's intended path. Your purpose is not a distant goal to achieve, but a remembering to allow. It flows through your natural inclinations, your inexplicable interests, the activities that make time dissolve. When you align with this inner knowing, the universe conspires to support your path. Practice. In the quiet hours, find a space where you won't be disturbed, a sanctuary where your soul can speak freely. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, allowing each breath to carry you deeper into stillness. Ask yourself with reverence, what did I come here to do? Let the question sink into the depths of your being, past the chatter of everyday thoughts, beyond the expectations of others. The first word or image that surfaces, before doubt can cloud it, holds a fragment of your soul's truth. It may come as a whisper, a feeling, or a vivid vision. Record it immediately, treating it as a sacred message from your higher self. For in these moments of pure connection, when the veil between conscious thought and divine knowing grows thin, wisdom flows most freely. Trust what emerges, even if it seems simple or unexpected, for the universe often speaks in gentle nudges rather than thunderous proclamations. Chapter 10. The First Key. In a bustling town where everyone shared their dreams freely, Vivian worked as a librarian, quietly watching others announce their intentions to the world. Each day she witnessed how these proclaimed aspirations seemed to dissolve into the air, their power diminishing with every retelling. You stand now at the threshold of a sacred truth. What is held in silence grows in strength. The universe operates through mystery, and your deepest desires require the sanctity of secrecy to flourish. When you share your sacred intentions prematurely, you expose them to energies that can dilute their power: doubt, judgment, or even well-meaning concern. Think of a seed planted in soil. It requires darkness to sprout, silence to take root. Your desires are these seeds, and secrecy is the rich earth they need to grow. This is not about hiding. It is about protecting the sacred space where manifestation begins. Charles, who had always felt compelled to share every spiritual insight from his pulpit, discovered a deeper truth when he began keeping a private prayer practice. In the quiet hours before dawn, without announcement or audience, he found a connection to the divine that surpassed anything he had known before. His congregation noticed not his words, but the light that now emanated from his being, proof that what is nurtured in secret bears the sweetest fruit. The first key of the protocol reveals itself. Your most powerful work happens in silence. When you shield your sacred intentions from the world's gaze, you create a protected space where the universe can work unimpeded. This is not deception, it is spiritual wisdom. The forces of creation require privacy, just as a chrysalis requires solitude for transformation. Your desires are sacred vessels. When you share them prematurely, you risk dispersing their energy, diluting their power with the opinions and energies of others. Hold them close, nurture them in the quiet moments, and watch as they gather strength in silence. Practice. Select one cherished goal and wrap it in sacred silence. Share it with no one. Tend to it only in private moments, like a secret garden. Let it grow in the fertile soil of your quiet devotion, protected from the world's gaze. This is not about hiding. It is about honoring the sacred nature of creation itself. Each time you feel tempted to speak of your intention, redirect that energy inward, allowing it to strengthen your resolve and deepen your commitment. Think of yourself as a guardian of this precious seed of possibility, knowing that the most powerful transformations occur beneath the surface, away from prying eyes. In this sacred solitude, your desire gains the pure, focused energy it needs to manifest in divine timing. Part 2. Tending the Garden of the Unseen, Aligning with the Divine. Chapter 11. The Power of Silent Decrees. In a small town library filled with whispered conversations and shuffling chapters, Frances discovered a truth that would alter the fabric of her existence. Each evening, after locking the library doors, she would return home to perform a sacred ritual. Beneath the worn floorboards of her bedroom lay a leather-bound journal, its chapters filled with quiet declarations of truth. You now approach a gateway to one of the most potent aspects of the divine protocol, the power of silent declaration. When you speak to your soul in the depths of stillness, you access a frequency that shapes reality itself. These are not mere affirmations. They are divine decrees made in the chamber of creation. The universe responds not to the volume of your voice, but to the authority of your conviction. In the silence of your being, when you declare "I am" with unwavering certainty, you touch the very essence of creative power. This is the language of the great mind, a dialogue conducted in absolute privacy between your consciousness and the infinite. Stanley, a man whose public life demanded constant speech, found himself drowning in external noise until he discovered the transformative power of inner declaration. In the quiet of his study, he began to silently affirm his true identity, not as a title or position, but as an expression of divine wholeness. Without announcing his shift to anyone, he witnessed his outer world reorganize itself around this new inner knowing. This practice transcends positive thinking. When you make these declarations in sacred silence, you are not convincing yourself of anything. You are aligning with truth at its source. The power lies not in the words themselves, but in the silent authority with which you know them to be real. Your inner voice, when aligned with truth and spoken in sacred privacy, carries more creative force than 1,000 public proclamations. This is not about drowning out doubt with volume, but about touching the quiet center where all possibility exists. Practice. Write 3 present tense "I am" statements in a secret notebook and repeat them silently before sleep each night. Choose declarations that resonate deeply with your soul's truth, not mere wishes or surface desires. As you lie in sacred stillness, let these words emerge from that quiet space within where all wisdom dwells. Write them with reverence, as though inscribing ancient truth onto sacred parchment. Each night, as the world grows still and your mind settles into that liminal space between waking and dreaming, silently affirm these statements, knowing they already exist within the infinite field of all possibility. Feel each word resonate through the chambers of your heart, vibrating with the frequency of pure truth. This nightly ritual becomes a bridge between your current reality and the divine blueprint of your highest potential, allowing universal forces to align with your deepest intentions. In these moments of sacred communion with your inner wisdom, you tap into the timeless stream of consciousness where all creation begins. Chapter 12. Emotion is your offering. In a garden where roses bloomed against weathered stone walls, Helen tended to her flowers each morning with a smile that never quite reached her eyes. Her neighbors praised her constant cheer, unaware that beneath the surface lay an ocean of unexpressed grief. For years, she had mastered the art of deflection, turning every conversation toward light and keeping her deeper waters hidden. You now encounter a vital truth of the divine protocol. Emotion is not a weakness to be conquered, but an offering to be consecrated. The universe seeks not your performance of joy, but your authentic presence with all that moves through you. When you deny your feelings, you deny the very current through which miracles flow. Your emotions are sacred messengers carrying the essence of your soul's experience to the great mind. Each feeling, whether it brings tears or laughter, is a holy offering on the altar of transformation. The divine does not judge your emotions. It receives them as pure energy, transforming them into the very substance of creation. Warren, a craftsman renowned for his steady hands, carried within him a dream so precious he dared not speak it aloud. One evening, alone in his workshop, his fingers traced the grain of an unfinished piece, and something broke open within him. Tears fell onto the wood as years of unexpressed longing poured forth. In that moment of surrender, as his heart offered up its truth without reservation, the universe began to move. Within months, opportunities appeared as if drawn by an invisible hand, guiding him toward the very dream he had finally allowed himself to feel fully. Your emotions are not obstacles to manifestation. They are the very substance of it. When you offer your feelings to the divine without judgment or resistance, you participate in a sacred alchemy. Joy becomes a seed of more joy. Grief transforms into understanding, and gratitude multiplies into abundance. The practice. Each morning, find a quiet moment alone, away from the clamor of daily life. Close your eyes and allow one emotion, be it joy, grief, or gratitude, to rise naturally within your being. Feel it fully in your body without trying to change or improve it, letting it wash through you like waves upon the shore. Notice where this feeling lives within you, perhaps as warmth in your chest, a flutter in your stomach, or a gentle pressure behind your eyes. Offer this feeling as a sacred gift to the divine, knowing that your emotional truth is a pure form of prayer, more powerful than any words could express. Let this be your daily devotion, a private ceremony between your heart and the infinite, an intimate communion that bridges the seen and unseen realms. In this sacred space of emotional honesty, you align with the very forces that shape reality itself. Chapter 13, The Holy Delay. In a small cottage by the sea, Mabel lit a candle each morning, whispering prayers into the silence. Her arms ached to hold a child, yet month after month her hopes remained unfulfilled. Each delay felt like a wound until the morning she discovered an ancient truth hidden in her waiting. You now approach a sacred understanding. What appears as delay in your life is actually divine calibration. The universe operates with perfect precision, orchestrating circumstances, energies, and souls in an intricate dance of timing. Your waiting is not punishment, it is preparation. When you resist the timing of the infinite, you create discord in the very symphony being composed for your highest good. Impatience clouds the eyes, making you blind to the countless threads being woven together on your behalf. But when you bow in reverence to divine timing, you enter a state of grace where every moment reveals its hidden purpose. Frederick, a gifted jazz musician, stood backstage at what he believed would be his breakthrough performance. Minutes before his set, a power failure plunged the venue into darkness. In that moment of apparent loss, he wandered the quiet streets, his saxophone case heavy in his hand. Following an inexplicable pull, he found himself at a small community center where children gathered, their eyes lighting up at the sight of his instrument. In that unexpected sanctuary, he discovered his soul's true calling, not in fame, but in awakening music in young hearts. You are being shown that what seems like missed opportunity is often divine protection. The universe's timing aligns not with your limited vision, but with your soul's highest destiny. Every delay carries within it a blessing waiting to be revealed. Practice. Each morning before the world's clamor begins, enter the silence and speak these words with reverence. This is sacred timing. I trust what is being aligned for me. Let this declaration be your offering to the wisdom that orchestrates all things. Feel these words resonate through your being as you acknowledge the divine intelligence weaving together the threads of your destiny. In moments of doubt, return to this practice, knowing that your willingness to surrender to sacred timing opens channels of grace that your limited mind cannot perceive. This simple ritual, performed faithfully, will gradually transform your relationship with time itself, allowing you to rest in the perfection of the universe's grand design. As you deepen into this awareness, you begin to witness how each moment unfolds with exquisite precision, orchestrating circumstances far beyond your current understanding. The very act of surrendering your timeline releases the tension that blocks divine flow, creating space for miracles to manifest in ways you could never have planned. Trust in this process, for it is through your acceptance of divine timing that the greatest gifts are bestowed. Chapter 14, Rituals of the Unseen. In the heart of an ordinary neighborhood, Louise stood at her kitchen sink, her hands immersed in warm water. What others saw as mundane tasks, she had learned to transform into sacred moments. With each dish she washed, she whispered blessings for those who would eat from them. As she swept the floor, she imagined clearing negative energy from her home. These private acts of devotion, hidden from the world's eyes, began to weave an invisible tapestry of grace around her life. You now enter the realm where the ordinary becomes extraordinary through the power of personal ritual. Every action, when infused with sacred intention, becomes a bridge between the visible and invisible worlds. Your daily life is not separate from your spiritual practice. It is the very altar upon which you commune with the divine. The universe responds not to the grandeur of your ceremonies, but to the quiet reverence of your private moments. When you transform simple acts into sacred rituals, you activate an ancient power that needs no witness to work its magic. These personal devotions create ripples in the fabric of reality that no public display could match. Eugene's story speaks to this truth. His small shop, once struggling to survive, transformed when he began arriving early each morning to perform a simple ritual. In the darkness before dawn, he would light a single candle and speak words of gratitude into the silence. No customer ever saw these moments, yet the entire atmosphere of his store shifted. Success flowed not from his strategies, but from his sacred connection to the present moment. Your life is a temple, and you are its keeper. The most powerful rituals are those performed in solitude, where intention flows pure and unwitnessed. Each morning holds the potential for communion with the infinite through acts as simple as mindful breathing or watching the sunrise. Practice. Create a simple personal ritual. Light a candle, sip tea, breathe deeply, and do it daily as an offering of presence. Let this sacred act become your anchor to the infinite, performed with reverence in the quiet moments before the world awakens. Choose elements that resonate with your spirit. perhaps burning incense, arranging crystals, or simply sitting in contemplative silence. The power lies not in the complexity of your practice, but in the depth of your devotion and the consistency of your commitment. Through this daily communion, you forge an unbreakable bond with the universal consciousness that flows through all things. As you dedicate yourself to this sacred practice, you'll discover that the simplest acts, performed with unwavering intention, become gateways to profound transformation. Each moment spent in reverent connection strengthens the invisible threads that bind your consciousness to the infinite wisdom of the universe, creating a sacred channel through which divine guidance can flow freely into your life. Chapter 15. The Initiation of Inner Authority. In the depths of a moonlit garden, Vera stood before the roses her mother had always tended. For years, she had lived as an echo of others' expectations, seeking guidance from every voice but her own. That night, as the perfume of night-blooming jasmine filled the air, she closed her eyes and turned inward. You now approach a threshold where external wisdom must bow to inner knowing. The universe has planted within you a compass more precise than any borrowed map. Each time you seek answers outside yourself, you turn away from the oracle that beats within your own heart. Your subconscious mind is not merely a storage space, it is a living scroll upon which you write the story of your existence. Every thought you entertain, every inner conversation you hold, becomes a thread in the tapestry of your reality. When you speak to yourself with reverence, the universe listens with interest. Norman's journey mirrors this sacred truth. After decades of preaching ancient scriptures, he found himself drawn to silence. One morning, instead of ascending the pulpit, he walked into the woods behind his church. There, beneath the canopy of leaves, he heard for the first time the voice that had always been speaking, his own soul's wisdom, clear as morning light. This is not a journey of discovery, but of remembrance. The guidance you seek has never left you. It has only been waiting for your attention to turn inward. Like a radio tuning to a frequency that has always been broadcasting, your inner wisdom becomes clear when you finally stop drowning it out with external noise. The time has come to reclaim your spiritual sovereignty. No teacher, no book, no authority can know your path better than the silent voice within. This is not rebellion, it is restoration. You are returning to your original state of connection with the divine mind that speaks through your own heart. Practice. Close your eyes and repeat with quiet reverence, I release the voices of others. I listen now to the voice that was mine before I was born. Let these words sink deep into your consciousness as you breathe slowly and steadily. Feel the ancient wisdom stirring within as you shed the accumulated opinions and judgments of the world. With each breath, allow yourself to sink deeper into that sacred inner silence where your original knowing dwells. Let your awareness rest in this hallowed space, free from the clamor of external expectations and borrowed beliefs. Feel how this primordial wisdom flows naturally, like a spring that has always been present beneath the surface of your being. As you remain in this state of receptive stillness, notice how your own truth begins to emerge with crystal clarity, untainted by the countless voices that have sought to shape your understanding. This is your birthright, this pure connection to the infinite intelligence that has guided you since before time began. Chapter 16. The Echo Chamber of Doubt. In the depths of winter, Esther sat at her window, watching snowflakes dance in the streetlight's glow. Her journal lay open before her, filled with dreams and intentions she no longer felt certain about. The universe seemed silent, and her faith wavered like a flame in the wind. You stand now at the threshold where all great manifestations are born, in the sacred space between certainty and doubt. This moment of questioning is not a sign of weakness, but a preparation for expansion. Just as the night grows darkest before dawn, your deepest doubts often precede your greatest breakthroughs. The universe operates through cycles of contraction and expansion. When you feel yourself contracting into uncertainty, know that you are being prepared for growth. Your doubt is not a barrier to your desires. It is the final testing ground of your commitment to them. Russell, a man who once dismissed all things spiritual, found himself facing inexplicable experiences that challenged his rigid worldview. Rather than fighting his uncertainty, he learned to hold it gently, like a bird in open hands. His healing practice began not when doubt vanished, but when he accepted it as part of his journey. "I don't need to understand everything," he would say. "I only need to remain open." This is the deeper truth. Doubt does not oppose faith, it refines it. When you continue walking despite your questions, your faith becomes unshakable. It transforms from blind belief into tested knowing. The universe asks not for perfect certainty, but for willing persistence in the face of uncertainty. Your doubts are not punishment, they are invitations. They ask, will you continue even when the path seems unclear? Will you trust even when your logical mind protests? This is how miracles are born, not in perfect faith, but in choosing trust even while questioning. Let your uncertainty become sacred. When doubt whispers that your dreams are too grand, when it suggests that magic isn't real, smile knowing that you are on the cusp of transformation. The fog before you is not an obstacle. It is the mist that precedes the revealing of your next level of power. Practice. Each time you feel doubt, whisper, "Even now, I trust." Then place your hand over your heart and breathe deeply, allowing the warmth of your palm to remind you of your connection to infinite wisdom. Let each breath become a gentle affirmation of your faith. As uncertainty swirls around you, this simple practice becomes your anchor, grounding you in the knowledge that all is unfolding perfectly, even when your mind cannot yet see the greater pattern. Chapter 17. The Messenger Called Contrast. In a small town where autumn leaves painted the streets in gold, Doris stood before her empty shop, the betrayal of her business partner still fresh. The closed sign hung like a weight on her heart, yet something stirred beneath her grief, a whisper of possibility. When life delivers what appears to be misfortune, it often carries within it a sacred redirection. Your perceived setbacks are not punishments, but divine adjustments guiding you toward your true path. The universe speaks through contrast, showing you through shadow where light must emerge. Every obstacle presents two choices: to view it as defeat or to recognize it as direction. Those who master manifestation understand that resistance often precedes revelation. Your challenges are not random. They are precise instruments of awakening. Howard had known only the ring, his identity wrapped in the rhythm of boxing matches and training sessions. When injury closed that door forever, he discovered words flowing through his pen, telling stories that touched souls far beyond what his fists ever could. His seeming loss became the gateway to his soul's true expression. What appears as opposition is often opposition to what no longer serves your highest path. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, sometimes must shake loose what you grip too tightly, creating space for what your soul truly seeks. Your resistance to this process only prolongs the transition. When you learn to welcome contrast as a messenger, its sting begins to soften. Each challenge carries within it a sacred code, a message pointing toward your next evolution. The pain you feel is not punishment, but the breaking open of old boundaries that can no longer contain your expanding light. Practice. Write a letter of gratitude to a painful experience that has shaped your path. Pour your heart onto the page, acknowledging both the difficulty of the journey and the wisdom it has carved into your soul. Ask yourself with genuine openness, what sacred message were you sent to deliver? Let your words flow without judgment, knowing that within your greatest struggles often lie the seeds of your most profound transformation. As you write, notice what arises from deep within, the subtle whispers of understanding that may have been waiting for this moment of recognition. Your letter becomes a bridge between what was and what shall be, between resistance and acceptance, between pain and the profound purpose it carries. Chapter 18. The Currency of Faith. In a modest bakery where dawn's first light filtered through flour-dusted windows, Betty stood before her empty display cases. The scent of fresh bread filled the air, but customers had grown scarce. Yet each morning, she whispered gratitude for the abundance she could not yet see. You stand now at the threshold of a powerful truth. Faith is not wishful thinking. It is the currency of creation. When you thank the universe for what is not yet manifested, you activate an ancient law that transforms energy into form. Your gratitude becomes the bridge between the unseen and the visible. This practice requires more than mere words. It demands the courage to feel wealthy before wealth arrives, to know success before it manifests, to embrace love before it appears. The universe responds not to what you want, but to what you already believe you have. Gerald understood this principle in the depths of his being. Night after night in his small apartment, he would embody the character he yearned to play, not as practice, but as truth. He lived in the feeling of already being that celebrated actor, letting gratitude fill his heart for the role that, in earthly time, had not yet been offered. The universe could not help but align with such unwavering faith. Your outer world must conform to your inner knowing when that knowing is absolute. This is not pretense. It is spiritual law. When you stand in genuine gratitude for what appears absent, you create a vacuum that the universe must fill. Your faith becomes the magnet that draws manifestation into form. Practice. Each morning, give thanks for one thing you have not yet received, as though it has already been given. Feel the sincerity of that gratitude coursing through your being, allowing no trace of doubt to diminish its power. Whether it be a cherished relationship, a creative breakthrough, or material abundance, express your appreciation with the same depth of feeling you would show if it were already manifest before you. This practice aligns your inner world with the reality you seek to create, opening channels through which the universe can deliver your desire. Chapter 19. Tending the Invisible Garden. In a sun-scorched town where green was but a whisper, Nora tended to her garden each dawn. While others saw only parched earth, she saw potential beneath the surface. Day after day, she knelt in silent communion with the soil, understanding that life stirred in darkness before reaching for light. You, too, are a gardener of the invisible. Your desires and intentions are seeds planted in fertile ground beyond physical sight. Just as Nora knew that rushing a seed's growth would only harm its potential, you must learn that manifestation follows natural law, not the demands of impatience. The universe operates through divine timing, responding not to force, but to faithful tending. Each thought of lack pulls your seedling from the soil too soon. Each moment of trust allows it to root more deeply. Your role is not to dig up what you've planted to check its progress, but to maintain the conditions for its inevitable emergence. Lloyd understood this wisdom in his bones. For 7 years he held a vision close to his heart, never speaking of it, never demanding its arrival. Instead, he cultivated his inner garden with the same devotion one might give to precious roses. Each morning he would sit in silence, feeling the reality of his vision as though it already existed. He did not push or plead, he simply maintained unwavering faith in the unseen growth. This is the sacred art of manifestation, to know that what appears dormant is actually gathering force beneath the surface. Your task is not to make things happen, but to maintain the perfect conditions for emergence. Through daily devotion to your inner state, you create an environment where miracles naturally bloom. Remember, the mighty oak exists first as an invisible potential within the acorn. Your manifestations follow the same divine pattern. What you seek is already growing in the soil of consciousness. Your consistent faith is the water, light, and nourishment it requires. Practice. Choose one heartfelt desire and dedicate 5 minutes of focused emotional alignment to it daily, as though tending to a sacred garden. During this time, feel the joy and gratitude of your desire already fulfilled, letting your consciousness dance with its reality. Do not check for external results or disturb the soil of your manifestation. Simply maintain your devoted practice with unwavering trust. Like a master gardener who understands the rhythms of growth, you need only plant the seed with intention and nurture it consistently with your faith. Chapter 20. The Second Key. In a quiet town where secrets bloomed like night flowers, Ruth carried her dreams on slips of paper tucked beneath her pillow. Each morning she would rise and seal her intentions deeper into silence, understanding that words shared too freely lose their sacred power. Through Ruth's journey, you now approach the second key of the divine protocol, the mastery of sealed intention. What remains unspoken grows in strength, gathering the pure energy of creation around it like morning dew on untouched petals. Your desires are living things, drawing sustenance from the quality of your attention. When exposed too early to the harsh light of others' opinions or the cold winds of doubt, they wither before taking root. But held in the warm darkness of private devotion, they flourish unseen until the moment of manifestation arrives. Philip knew this truth. For one complete journey of the sun, he carried his vision like a pearl within an oyster, letting it grow in luminous silence. No casual conversation diluted its potency. No premature sharing scattered its gathering force. In his heart, he built a sanctuary where his intention grew strong, protected from the world's noise and interference. The universe honors what you hold sacred. When you seal your desires in silence, you create a vacuum that divine power rushes to fill. This is not mere secrecy, it is spiritual alchemy. Each time you resist the urge to speak of your intention, you add another layer of power to its eventual manifestation. Your words carry creative force. When scattered carelessly into the world, they lose their magnetic pull on reality. But when held in reverent silence, they become arrows of intention, flying straight and true to their mark. The second key teaches that manifestation thrives in sacred silence. Like a seed beneath winter snow, your unspoken desire gathers strength in stillness, drawing to itself all that is needed for its perfect unfoldment. Practice. Write down one heartfelt desire, letting your deepest truth flow onto the page without hesitation or doubt. Fold the paper with reverent care, seal it within an envelope, and place it beneath a sacred object, perhaps a crystal, a religious symbol, or any item that holds spiritual significance for you. This becomes your altar of manifestation. Do not open it or share its contents with another soul, for this is a sacred covenant between you and the infinite. Let the power of your intention gather in silence, knowing that the universe has received your deepest wish. Part 3. The Crown of the Impossible the Divine Delivers. Chapter 21. Walking with the Great Mind. In a small town where time seemed to move like molasses, Alma sat at her weathered sewing machine, her fingers moving across fabric with practiced grace. Each morning she would whisper to the empty room, "Walk with me," before beginning her work. What started as a quiet ritual soon became the thread that rewove a tapestry of her existence. Through Alma's awakening, you now encounter a truth as old as breath itself. The universe is not a distant force to be petitioned, but an intimate presence moving through every moment of your life. As you walk through your days, this divine intelligence walks with you, its wisdom flowing through your intuition, its guidance appearing in perfect synchronicity. When Alma surrendered her grip on control, releasing each decision into the care of the great mind, life began responding with an elegance that no human planning could achieve. Customers appeared at precisely the right moments. Solutions emerged from unexpected corners. Even the timing of her bus ride seemed orchestrated by an unseen hand. Your relationship with the universe is not one of supplicant to master, but of waves to ocean. You are not separate from this force. You are its expression. When you align with this truth, life ceases to be a series of struggles and becomes a dance of divine coordination. Edgar discovered this truth in the depths of his grief. In the silence of his empty home, he began treating his thoughts not as solitary musings, but as sacred conversations with the divine. Each worry became a question asked of infinite wisdom. Each moment of gratitude became a shared celebration. Through this simple shift, he found himself guided by an intelligence far greater than his own. The universe speaks through subtle signs, perfect timing, and aligned circumstances. It communicates through the quiet voice of intuition and the graceful unfolding of events. When you attune yourself to this divine dialogue, you step into a flow where miracles become natural occurrences. Practice. Begin your day with a whispered "walk with me," and proceed as if the universe is beside you with each step. Let every breath become a sacred exchange with the infinite wisdom that surrounds you. Feel the divine presence guiding your movements, influencing your choices, and illuminating your path. As you move through your daily activities, maintain this intimate connection, knowing that you are never truly alone in your journey. Chapter 22. Synchronicity is the signature. In a quiet corner of the post office, Gertrude sorted letters with practiced hands, her movements steady and precise. Each morning she whispered a simple prayer, "Show me the way." What began as a whispered hope soon transformed into an extraordinary dialogue with the universe. The numbers started appearing first. 11:11 on the clock when she glanced up from her work. 333 on a package that seemed to glow with significance. 444 on license plates that caught her eye. These were not mere coincidences, they were the universe's way of acknowledging her attention. Through Gertrude's experience, you are witnessing the language of the divine, a sacred conversation that speaks through patterns and perfect timing. When you align with the great mind, reality itself becomes your messenger. Every chance encounter carries meaning. Every repeated symbol holds significance. The universe does not communicate through words alone, but through a tapestry of synchronized moments. A book falls open to exactly the page you need. A stranger speaks the very words you've been pondering. A wrong turn leads to an unexpected blessing. These are not accidents. They are confirmations of your spiritual momentum. Clyde, a former skeptic, discovered this truth when he began following what others might dismiss as mere coincidence. A misdelivered letter led him to a newspaper article, which prompted a phone call, which opened a door he never knew existed. By honoring each small sign, he found himself guided to an opportunity that transformed his life. These synchronicities are not random. They are breadcrumbs laid by an intelligence that sees the complete picture of your destiny. When you notice and honor these signs, you demonstrate your readiness for greater alignment. The universe responds by increasing the frequency and clarity of its messages. Your role is not to force meaning or manufacture connections, but to remain open and observant. Each synchronicity is a gentle reminder that you are seen, supported, and guided by forces beyond your comprehension. These moments of perfect timing and aligned circumstances are proof that the unseen is actively working in your favor. Practice. Keep a sign journal. Record every moment of synchronicity without judgment or logic, honoring each as a message. When you notice repeated numbers, chance encounters, or meaningful coincidences, document them with reverence. Let your journal become a sacred record of the universe's whispers in your life. Over time, patterns will emerge that reveal the invisible threads weaving through your journey. Trust that each entry, no matter how small it may seem, is significant in the tapestry of guidance being woven for you. Chapter 23, Living from the End. In a sunlit room overlooking a garden, Irene sat at her writing desk each morning, penning letters filled with love and gratitude to the man she had not yet met. Her words flowed from a place of knowing rather than wanting, each letter sealed with quiet certainty rather than desperate hope. You too possess this power, to write the story of your life before it unfolds in the visible world. What appears as imagination is actually the blueprint of creation, for the universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you embody in the sacred chambers of your consciousness. Through Irene's daily practice, you glimpse a profound truth. Love, abundance, and all desires manifest not through seeking, but through being. Each morning, as she wrote of shared moments yet to come, she was not dreaming. She was decreeing. When her beloved finally appeared, he spoke words she had already written in her letters, carrying the essence she had held in her heart. In the quiet workshop of his modest home, Walter crafted furniture with reverent hands, a dining table where family would gather, chairs that would hold conversations yet to unfold, cabinets that would store memories not yet made. He moved through his days not as one who lacked, but as one who prepared for what was already his. This is the sacred art of living from the end, where your actions arise not from absence, but from abundance. You need not wait for evidence to embody your truth. The universe mirrors back what you hold as real in the silence of your being. Your desired reality is not a distant shore to reach, but a frequency to tune into now. Every thought, every gesture, every private moment is an opportunity to live from this truth. When you brush your teeth, walk down the street, or prepare your meals, do you move as one who is still seeking, or as one who has already received? Practice. Begin acting as if today. Choose one small action you would naturally take if your desire were already real. Let this action flow from your inner knowing, not from pretense or forced effort. Perhaps you straighten your posture as one who embodies confidence, or speak with the gentle authority of one who knows their worth. Make this shift subtle yet profound, allowing it to arise organically from your transformed state of being. Remember, You are not performing or pretending, but rather aligning your outer expression with the truth you have already claimed within. Chapter 24. The Spiritual Physics of Gratitude. In a small room filled with memories, Cora knelt beside her daughter's empty bed each morning. Where others might have seen only absence, she began to whisper words of thanks, not for what was, but for what would be. "Thank you for the peace that fills my heart," she spoke into the silence, though her heart still ached. "Thank you for the joy that returns to this home," she whispered, though tears still fell. You now approach a sacred truth. Gratitude is not merely a response to what has been given. It is the key that unlocks what is yet to come. When you thank the universe before evidence appears, you alter the very fabric of creation. This is not positive thinking. It is spiritual law in motion. Through Cora's daily practice, something shifted in the unseen realm. Her gratitude, offered before healing arrived, became the bridge between pain and peace. Each "thank you" spoke to the universe not of what was missing, but of what was becoming. Slowly, gently, her soul began to remember its natural state of wholeness. Raymond, a man lost in confusion about his life's direction, discovered this same principle through a different path. Each dawn, he would stand at his window and speak words of appreciation for the clarity he had not yet received. "Thank you for showing me the way," he would say to the morning sky, though his path remained uncertain. "Thank you for this divine guidance that leads my every step," he declared, while questions still lingered. What you witness in these stories is the alchemy of preemptive gratitude. The universe does not require you to wait for the miracle before offering thanks. Indeed, your advanced gratitude becomes the very soil from which miracles grow. This is not about denying present reality. It is about speaking to a deeper truth that exists beyond current circumstances. Your gratitude, offered in private moments, becomes a sacred signal to the universal mind. It announces that you understand the law of reciprocity, that appreciation offered now creates a channel through which more blessings can flow. This is not wishful thinking, but spiritual science in its purest form. Practice, create a private gratitude ritual. Thank the universe for 3 things that have not yet appeared as if they already have. Make this practice sacred by finding a quiet moment, perhaps at dawn or dusk, when the veil between what is and what could be feels thinnest. Speak your gratitude with conviction, feeling the reality of these blessings in your heart. Let your words carry the weight of absolute certainty, for in this moment of communion with universal mind, you are planting seeds in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. Remember that your ritual need not be elaborate. Its power lies in your sincerity and unwavering faith. Whether you whisper your thanks beneath the stars or write them in a journal kept solely for this purpose, what matters is the depth of your conviction and the purity of your gratitude. Chapter 25. Guardians at the Gate. In a sunlit studio filled with half-finished canvases, Winifred stood before her masterpiece, the painting that would finally launch her career. After years of quiet dedication, galleries had begun to notice her work. Yet on the morning of her breakthrough exhibition, she discovered her closest friend had claimed credit for her signature technique, securing a prestigious contract that should have been hers. You now encounter a fundamental truth of spiritual elevation. The universe often presents a final test before your greatest breakthrough. This test appears as betrayal, loss, or impossible odds, not to defeat you, but to strip away what you no longer need for your next emergence. In that moment of devastation, Winifred faced a choice that all masters must face: to collapse into bitterness or to transmute pain into power. She chose to paint through her tears, allowing the betrayal to fuel her creativity rather than destroy it. What emerged on her canvas was unlike anything she had created before, raw, authentic, and touched by a power that could only come through surrender. Martin, a young entrepreneur, faced this same principle when his investors withdrew at the last moment, leaving him on the edge of bankruptcy. Instead of fighting against this apparent disaster, he sat in silence with his fear. In that stillness, he discovered a deeper trust, one that transcended external security. When all seemed lost, he found himself saying, "Show me what I need to learn." What appeared to be the end became the beginning. Martin's business transformed into something far greater than his original vision, built on a foundation of unshakable faith rather than desperate control. These gates appear precisely when you are ready to cross their threshold. They come disguised as obstacles but serve as initiations. The very thing that seems poised to destroy your dream is often the catalyst for its evolution. Practice. The next time a challenge arises, write these words in your journal or speak them aloud with conviction. This is a gate. Then ask yourself with complete openness, what must I release to pass through? Let the questions settle into the depths of your being. Notice what emerges: a fear, an old belief, a need for control. Each gate demands something different, yet all require the surrender of that which no longer serves your highest path. Trust that by naming the obstacle as a gateway, you have already begun the sacred process of transformation. Chapter 26. The Energy Signature of Destiny. In a small apartment overlooking a quiet street, Adeline sat at her desk each morning, mechanically typing reports that drained her spirit. Though her poems filled hidden notebooks, she had convinced herself that practicality must precede passion. Yet beneath the steady rhythm of her structured life, an ancient knowing stirred, a frequency that whispered of another way. You must understand that your soul carries a unique vibrational signature, a sacred rhythm that, when followed, aligns you with your highest destiny. This is not mere metaphor, but spiritual law. When you move in harmony with this inner frequency, the universe conspires to support your authentic expression. For Adeline, the shift began when she dared to wake before dawn, allowing her soul's natural rhythm to guide her. Instead of forcing herself into society's prescribed schedule, she honored the quiet hours when her creativity flowed most freely. This simple act of alignment created ripples through her entire existence. Her poems, once hidden, began finding their way to those who needed their medicine. Leonard, a saxophonist who had spent decades playing other people's compositions in dimly lit clubs, discovered this same truth. After years of molding himself to others' expectations, he finally allowed his unique sound to emerge, raw, unconventional, but undeniably authentic. The very qualities that critics had once dismissed became his signature, drawing listeners who resonated with his soul's true frequency. You are not here to mimic others or to suppress your essence for acceptance. Your soul's frequency is your compass, your unique contribution to the universal symphony. When you align with this inner rhythm, you enter a state of flow where manifestation becomes effortless. This is not about rebellion against structure, but about finding your natural place within the cosmic order. The universe responds not to your actions alone, but to the energetic signature behind them. When you move from your soul's authentic frequency, you activate a field of resonance that attracts aligned opportunities, relationships, and experiences. This is the hidden mechanism behind what appears as luck or timing. Practice and ask yourself, what makes my soul feel luminous? What activities or moments ignite that inner fire of pure joy? Begin weaving that feeling into your daily life in one small way. It could be as simple as spending 5 minutes in nature, writing a few lines of poetry, or sharing a genuine smile with a stranger. These seemingly minor actions, when aligned with your soul's frequency, become powerful ripples in the cosmic ocean of manifestation. Choose one such activity and commit to it daily, allowing its light to illuminate your path and amplify your energetic signature. Remember, the smallest authentic expression of your soul's truth can catalyze profound transformations in your reality. Chapter 27. Letting Go of the How. In a sunlit office overlooking the city, Minnie sat surrounded by vision boards, spreadsheets, and carefully plotted timelines. Each morning she would revise her strategies, adjust her action steps, and attempt to wrestle her dreams into submission through sheer force of will. Yet the more she tried to control the path, the more distant her goals seemed to become. You must understand that the universe operates through infinite channels, most of which remain invisible to human perception. When you insist on dictating the exact route to your desires, you often block the very miracles attempting to reach you. The sacred truth is this: your role is not to engineer the how, but to maintain the vibration of the what. The divine mind holds wisdom far beyond your current understanding, orchestrating paths that your limited perspective could never conceive. For Minnie, transformation arrived when she finally released her grip on the process. Instead of clutching her plans, she began each day in quiet surrender, nurturing her vision while releasing attachment to its method of arrival. Within weeks, opportunities emerged through unexpected channels, connections she never planned, solutions she couldn't have strategized. George, a businessman who had spent years forcing his way forward, discovered this same principle when his carefully constructed plans crumbled. In the space of that surrender, something remarkable occurred. By releasing his need to control every detail, he opened himself to possibilities his strategic mind had never imagined. A chance encounter led to a partnership that fulfilled his vision in ways far exceeding his original plans. This surrender is not passive resignation, but active trust, a profound acknowledgement that the intelligence that keeps planets in orbit can surely orchestrate the details of your manifestation. Your task is to hold the energy of your desire while allowing the universe to determine its delivery method. Practice. Each day, speak these words with conviction: this, or something better, by divine design. Then consciously release your grip on the outcome, surrendering the need to orchestrate every detail or know the precise steps ahead. Trust that the universe's infinite wisdom will guide your path in ways far more magnificent than your limited perspective can envision. Make this declaration your daily reminder that by loosening your hold on the how, you open yourself to receive blessings beyond your imagination. Let this simple yet profound practice become your gateway to experiencing the magic that unfolds when you align with divine timing and infinite possibility. Chapter 28. You are the ritual. In a small cottage among flowering gardens, Harriet arranged her altar with trembling hands, crystals precisely placed, candles meticulously aligned, incense carefully chosen. Yet something felt hollow in her precise arrangements. You see, she had fallen into the common illusion that spirituality requires perfect external conditions. The truth whispers differently. Your body is the living temple, your breath the sacred smoke, your presence the highest offering. Every gesture can become a blessing when infused with conscious awareness. The universe responds not to the perfection of your ritual, but to the quality of your being. Through your daily movements flows the power to reshape reality. Each step can become a decree, each breath an affirmation, each moment a ceremony of creation. You need not seek sacred spaces. You are the sacred space. Franklin discovered this truth in an unexpected way. As a factory worker, his days were filled with repetitive motions, lifting, carrying, assembling. For years, he sought transformation through elaborate evening practices until he realized his work itself could become his worship. He began to move with deliberate grace, treating each action as a sacred dance. His breath became a prayer, his posture a declaration of dignity. Without changing his routine, he changed his reality. The divine protocol flows through your very being. Your spine is the altar of your intention, your heartbeat the drum of manifestation, your eyes the windows through which you bless the world. When you embody your desire, moving, breathing, and living as though it is already fulfilled, you become the living prayer. Let your morning shower become a baptism of renewal. Transform your daily walk into a pilgrimage of presence. Allow the preparation of your meals to become an alchemy of gratitude. In these ordinary moments lies extraordinary power, not in perfecting the ritual but in becoming it. Practice. Choose one daily action, walking, bathing, preparing food, and infuse it with sacred presence. Let it become a living prayer. As you move through this chosen ritual, feel the divine flowing through every gesture. Notice how your breath deepens, how your movements become more graceful and intentional. Whether you're stirring a pot of soup or taking each step along your morning path, recognize that you are performing an act of creation. In these moments of conscious attention, you transcend the mundane and enter the realm of the sacred, where every action becomes an offering to the infinite. This is the essence of living prayer, not words spoken, but consciousness embodied. Chapter 29, The Final Key. In a modest townhouse on Cedar Street, Millie stood before her window each morning, gazing at a world that seemed unchanged. Yet beneath the surface of ordinary days, unseen forces were weaving miracles in silence. You too stand at such a window now, watching, waiting, wondering if anything is truly happening beneath the stillness. The universe operates like a master weaver, threading together countless unseen strands before revealing the tapestry. What appears as delay is sacred preparation. Every seeming void is filled with divine activity. Your desires are not lost in the waiting. They are being carefully crafted in dimensions beyond sight. Thomas, a dedicated teacher, spent years questioning his path as his classroom remained half empty. Each morning, he would arrive early, arranging empty chairs with care, speaking his intentions into silence. While the world saw absence, the universe was orchestrating a symphony of perfect timing. Without his knowledge, a new development was being built nearby, bringing families to the area. A change in district policies was slowly unfolding. All the while, his reputation quietly grew through word of mouth. One autumn morning, Thomas arrived to find a line of parents waiting. His class now had a waiting list. Every empty chair now held an eager student. What seemed like stagnation had been sacred gestation. This truth echoes through the ages. The most profound transformations occur in concealment. Like a seed beneath soil, your desires are not dormant. They are developing roots. The universe's greatest works unfold in darkness, in silence, in the sacred space between your faith and its fulfillment. You are now invited to honor this divine concealment, to trust that your unrevealed blessings are being woven with infinite care. The seeming void is not empty, it is pregnant with possibility. Your role is not to force manifestation, but to maintain unwavering faith in what is being divinely arranged. Practice. Sit in stillness and visualize your deepest desire unfolding behind the curtain of time. Let your mind's eye penetrate the veil between what is and what will be. See the intricate threads of destiny weaving your dreams into reality, though hidden from mortal sight. Feel the quiet certainty that pulses through your being as you whisper these words of power. I trust what I cannot see. Allow this declaration to echo through the chambers of your soul, knowing that your faith is the bridge between the invisible and the manifest. Chapter 30. You are the myth the universe once dreamed. In the heart of an unremarkable town lived Evelyn, a woman who moved through life like countless others, until the day she glimpsed the pattern. You see, what appeared as routine was actually ritual. What seemed like coincidence was cosmic design. You, too, carry such a pattern within. The universe did not simply create you. It dreamed you into being, weaving sacred intention into your very breath. Every step you've taken, every apparent detour, has been part of ancient choreography. When you understand this truth, everything shifts. You no longer need to chase the miracle. You are the miracle in motion. Your presence becomes prayer. Your breath becomes blessing. The divine protocol is not something you practice. It is what you are. Arthur discovered this truth one autumn morning. For years he had sought wisdom in ancient texts and distant teachers, collecting practices like precious coins. But as he sat in his study, surrounded by books that no longer called to him, he began to laugh. The answer he sought had been breathing through him all along. What you are discovering now is beyond technique or method. It is the remembrance of your original nature. When you walk, the universe walks. When you speak, creation speaks. When you dream, reality dreams with you. This is not spiritual pride, but spiritual truth. You are not separate from the power you seek. The protocol was never meant to be a set of rules to follow, but a remembrance of what you already are. Every ritual you've practiced has been preparation for this moment of recognition. Think of how a wave might suddenly realize it is the ocean in motion. This is your awakening, not to become something, but to recognize what you have always been. The sacred pattern you carry is not a script to perform, but your authentic nature unfolding. Practice. In sacred solitude, write the story of your life as an ancient myth. Begin with, there once was a being of light who chose to forget their nature. Let your hand move without judgment, allowing the universe to reveal your cosmic significance through your own words. Read this myth aloud to yourself each morning, not as fiction, but as the deepest truth of who you are. Conclusion. The journey that brought you to these chapters was no accident. You were called here by a wisdom older than time, drawn by a sacred thread woven into your very being. What you have uncovered in these teachings is not new knowledge. It is ancient remembering. As you close this book, understand that you are not completing a chapter, but beginning an eternal unfolding. The divine protocol now lives in your cells, breathes through your intentions, and moves in your silence. Each practice you have learned is not a technique to master, but a doorway into deeper communion with the infinite mind. You now understand that your private moments of alignment are more powerful than any outward action. The sacred gestures you make in solitude, the intentions you hold in silence, the faith you maintain in darkness, these are the true levers of creation. Remember, what appears as an ending is truly initiation. From this moment forward, your life becomes the living testament of these teachings. Every challenge will be an opportunity for deeper trust. Every delay an invitation to stronger faith. Every contrast a gateway to greater alignment. The universe conspired to place these teachings in your hands at precisely this moment, not because you needed to learn, but because you were ready to remember. The power you have accessed was never outside of you. It was waiting within, like a seed beneath winter soil, for the perfect moment to bloom. You now carry the keys to the invisible kingdom. Your every breath can be prayer, your every gesture ritual, your every thought decree. The sacred silence you maintain becomes the womb where miracles gestate. Trust what you cannot yet see, honor what you cannot yet touch, and know that the greatest transformations begin in the unseen. This is not farewell, it is awakening. Go forth now, knowing you walk with the power of ages in your steps. The divine protocol is not a path you follow, but a truth you embody. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.